Sexual dreams.
Yeah, baby. This is part 2 to the 12 dreams that mean you are being personally affected by witchcraft.
Believe it or not, engage.
I'm going to go with not. I'm going to go with believe it not.
Number 6, sexual dreams. Believe it or not, engaging in sexual activities in a dream is not just a physical thing. It's
True.
actually a spiritual thing.
Not true.
And it's not a good thing either.
Oh, the text on screen. We got really intense here.
In fact, it's one of the strongest attacks that the forces of darkness can throw at anyone.
Oh my God.
When you have these types of dreams, you're not just having sex. You're actually engaging with spirits. Those people you see yourself engaging in the dream are actually demons that are polluting your spirit and sowing evil seeds of lust and
Probably my biggest frustration with the spiritual, churchy, religious community. Sex is a wonderful, amazing, and beautiful thing. It does not mean attack. It's like food. If you demonize food and you say food is evil, food is going to hurt you, you're going to develop this really conflicted relationship with your diet and with food. Toxic diet culture. You see it. It's like food is so bad. We have to maintain total control over our food consumption. You need food to survive, just in the same way that you need sex to survive. And so the more that you demonize sex, the more that you turn it into an addiction. The more that you demonize food, the more that you turn it into addiction. And this is where I was talking in the beginning of the video about how food and sex, appetite, like hunger appetite and sexual appetite, are really a great metaphor one for another and a great way to understand things. I use it all the time. But my biggest frustration is that by saying these things and by demonizing sex, you're ensuring that people are going to struggle with their sexuality and sexual identity. Listen, I'm preaching to the choir, I'm sure, but it's so important to understand these things. And so sex inside of a dream is just connection, right? Think about sex between human beings. We have evolved to connect with different types of human beings so we can strengthen our offspring, the gene pool, right? And actually, if you look at some of the research about sexuality and what people and who people are attracted to, they're attracted to novelty, right? So if I'm a short individual, I will be attracted to a tall individual. If I'm a tall individual, I might be attracted to a short individual. If I am of a certain skin tone, I might be attracted to somebody of a very different skin tone. Blonde to brunette, right? Redhead to blonde, whatever it is, we're attracted to things that are different because by connecting with something that's very different from us, we become stronger, we become more whole, and our offspring are much more robust because of it too. And so psychologically, it symbolizes the same thing. What is different than I am that I need to connect with so I can be more psychologically and mentally sound? And so that's what's great about dreams. It can also just mean you're horny, right? If you go to bed and you've been denying yourself sexual gratification, your mind's going to be like, hey, I see you, buddy. You're horny. You're having a rough time. You're denying yourself sexual gratification. Here's a good old sex dream for you, baby. And that's really nice because your mind knows better than you do that you need to take care of yourself in that way. Like sexual appetite is important. Gratifying it in healthy ways is so crucial for good mental health. Wonderful sleep benefits, by the way. An orgasm before bed, so good for your mind. You sleep deeper, you sleep longer, you sleep better. It's more recuperative. Wonderful, wonderful things, both psychologically and just straight up physically. So that's my huge frustration here. I'm curious to see where they go with this.
Sexual perversion into your life.
Oh.
Even if it's a face don't get fooled by it. They are simply impersonating them. But it gets even worse. These sexual encounters.
So what am I supposed to do with my partner? Like, so if I have a sexual dream about my wife, that doesn't just mean I'm in love with her. That's what I'm thinking it means.
In your dream.
Am I wrong here, guys? Like, tell me in the comments below. Like, am I crazy? Like, I'm pretty attracted to my wife. I'm incredibly attracted to my wife. I have sexual dreams about her. Like, it just means I love her.
Dreams are actually.
But this is saying like, don't be caught off guard. That's actually the devil trying to warn you and trying to get you where you're the most vulnerable. Your marriage because you love your wife, you bastard.
Tools of witchcraft used to establish evil covenants that will have significant negative effects on your life.
God, look at the imagery.
For example, you might have difficulty getting married, or when you do, you might have difficult marital problems, or maybe you'll have trouble getting pregnant if that's something you want.
Ooh, the shame. Oh, God forbid you have sexual desires because you'll have trouble getting pregnant. You'll have issues in your relationship. Everybody's got issues in their relationship. You're supposed to have a sexual desire. Like, so we're just supposed to have a sexless marriage? Like sexless relationship?
And even in the area of finances, you might experience difficulties.
Wow, we're lumping it all on. So if you have sexual desires, you won't get pregnant, you'll get divorced, and you'll have no money.
So the next time you have such a dream, don't just brush it off as something normal. Pay attention to it. It's not a good thing. Number
It's not a good thing. It just makes me sick.
7. Burials.
Burials, okay.
Dreaming of seeing your personal items buried in a graveyard or on the property of someone else, or even your own property, indicates a witchcraft attack. If you also keep dreaming of seeing yourself in a casket or buried in a grave, this means the devil is heavily attacking your destiny.
Oh my gosh, we can skip this one, to be honest. Letting go. If you see something being buried, let that shit go. Put it in the ground, right? It's dead. It's done. It's time to move on. Sometimes we hold on. Listen, you and I know that sometimes we hold on to shit from the past. And if you're burying it in a dream, good. Your mind is giving you a great little piece of advice saying, let that shit go. It's time to move on. It is time to move into the future. You don't need to be holding on to that crap. That's what's going on. Dreaming of rats and roaches. This is a great one, by the way. Rats and roaches. You may not like this. You may not be aware. A feminine symbol. And I'm going to tell you why that's a good thing here in a minute.
Dreaming of rats and roaches. Rats and roaches are pests that cause destruction. In dreams, they indicate household wickedness and the spirit of destruction.
Household wickedness. Tell me more, oh wise WITCHCRAFT one.
This too indicates witchcraft spirits of poverty being sent against the dreamer.
Spirits
if you
of
dream
poverty.
that they are destroying your documents, this means the devil has launched attacks against your carrier.
Oh my God. Okay. Rats and roaches are actually great. I love these dreams. So difficult to see because they're usually alarming, but so good for you psychologically. Roaches and rats, feminine symbol. And here's why. Rats and roaches, specifically roaches, it's really interesting to see that in Eastern cultures, roaches are not seen as bad as they are in Western cultures, because a lot of Eastern cultures are much more woman, female centric, right? And so they really appreciate the feminine mystique. They really appreciate the feminine energy. Western culture, wildly masculine dominated. And so we hate roaches because we hate women. Eastern culture, they're okay with roaches because women are a very welcome and beautiful part of society. They appreciate them much more. Here's why. Psychologically, roaches symbolize resilience. Roaches are the ultimate mother. They can survive without their head on. They can scurry through the dark and find food for their babies. They can multiply almost seemingly without anything, just in the absence, in the middle of nowhere, in a place of isolate desolation. They can have babies and they will procreate and they will be ultimate mothers. And so when you're seeing a roach, two things. One, it's a pest. Something is pestering you in your life and something is getting inside of your mind, something that you don't want to be there. But two, along with that negative piece to that symbol, the roach symbolizes your increased need for resilience. Embrace your femininity. Women are much more resilient than men. And we're talking about that not in a sexual way, but in an emotional way, like the emotional sort of pieces of masculinity and femininity. We all are resilient, right? But it's that feminine nature inside of us that is incredibly resilient, much more resilient than the masculine nature. And so by embracing that inner roach, being able to survive even nuclear blasts, that's fucking cool, man. So it's like, if you have a roach in your dream, you may be feeling pestered by something, but it's a call to be more resilient and to find your way out of it. Same with rats. We do tests on rats because they're incredibly smart. And so if you're seeing a rat, it's the same thing. You may be pestered by something, a pest, play on words, but it's time for you to be ingenious, smart, conniving, right? Steal your way through life. Rats, coincidentally, can also be thieves, right? So you may be feeling like someone's stealing your energy, stealing your resources, stealing something from you, maybe a bad relationship. You know, we call somebody who is dishonest and thief-like, we call them a rat, right? So be careful of that, maybe a warning of that, but it's also a call for you to be a little bit more conniving yourself, be a little bit more shrewd about your relationships and about the decisions you're making. Wonderful, wonderful dream. And sad that they're saying that this is witchcraft. I definitely don't believe that. All right. Ooh, this is a good one.
Shaving your hair. If you often dream of people shaving or cutting off your hair, that is a clear sign the devil is working against your glory. If you have such dreams, it is important not to ignore them. Because if you do, they will certainly manifest, and you might find yourself losing out on your carrier.
Hair dreams. Hair You might have noticed I got a little haircut myself, by the way, quite different for your boy, Jesse Lyon. Hair is all about strength. As we age, we lose our hair. As we become less and less virile, right? Less and less strong as human beings, we lose our hair, we become weaker and less strong. And so you can see that in a lot of the great stories inside of the Bible. You know, Samson, Delilah cuts his hair and then he loses his strength. And so hair is a symbol for strength. It's a symbol for strength in your dreams, but it can also be about relationships, right? So if someone is cutting your hair or you're cutting your own hair, it could mean the loss of a relationship. You're losing that relational strength or you're losing personal strength. But it's also, because it's about strength, it's about your identity too. A lot about how we cut our hair and shape our hair shows how we want to present ourselves to the world. And so hair, there's nothing wrong with hair. Shaving your head could be a great thing. Let go of that old stuff. You may be losing strength, but in a way that starts afresh and anew like a baby, right? It's time to start a new thing. Let go of that stuff. Time to grow anew. If your hair's falling out in clumps, you may be feeling like you're not really strong in the situation that you're facing right now. You're losing some of that strength. And that's a call for you to be a little bit more confident, to find that strength again and feel that vigor inside of yourself. And it's not about this spiritual witchcraft sort of stuff. But apparently this, if you look at this video, this is one of the most common parts, like the most replayed. People really want to know about hair dreams.
Breakthroughs or everything that is associated with you. This is also true if you dream of losing your wig or hair attachments. However, always remember there is nothing God cannot do. All authority and power belongs to Jesus.
I mean, I agree
10.
That you can get through all things. You can make it through all things. But listen, causing fear is not a helpful way to work through this stuff. Blood. Oh, yeah, good.
Blood. Seeing blood in a dream is often never a good sign.
Is often never a good sign. So is it never a good sign or is it often not a good sign? That was a little confusing.
This is especially true if the blood is yours.
Oh my God.
The Bible tells us that life is in the blood. And so if you dream and see yourself losing blood, this can be a warning sign against your life.
They were so close. They were so close. They took it way too literally. Dreams, of course, are not literal. And if anyone has had a dream about blood and is watching this video, you know that you're still alive. And so there was no attack on your life. Blood is about your life force though. And so if you see yourself bleeding, it means that you're losing your strength. You're losing your life force. Something like a vampire, right? Who is sucking your emotions? Who is draining you of your strength and vitality in your life? Your dream is warning you, hey, you're kind of losing some of your strength here. Like, care for yourself. Be bathed in your own blood. Like, blood is strength. And so coincidentally, on the other side, if you see yourself bathed in blood, it could be about embracing that more primal, more darker shadow side of yourself and embracing the strength that comes from those shadow parts of yourself. You've heard about this in therapy, shadow work, right? Parts work, things like that. That is the strength in the blood. And so drinking blood, great, love that. Seeing blood, great, love that. Losing your blood may be a sign that you're feeling unstrong, you're feeling drained in your life. And that could be about burnout in stress, in work, in relationships, stuff like that.
If it is a pregnant woman, this can be a warning sign of the loss of her unborn child.
Man, doesn't that just make you feel warm and fuzzy inside? I love that. I love that. You may be miscarrying right now. Isn't that a wonderful thing to hear?
However, it should always be noted that dreams are not meant to bring fear, but rather seen as an instrument through which God can reveal the plans of the enemy for us to pray against.
That's my favorite part. It's like here's 10 minutes of terrible things that can happen to you, but it's not meant to inspire fear. You can't gaslight me like that, okay? You can't tell me all these horrible things that are going to happen to me and then be like, but don't be afraid of it, right? It's like, oh my gosh, losing strength. Now, there have been times where your body will be aware that something is wrong with you and it will give you these blood dreams. And so it's like, hey, go get checked out by your doctor. That's important too. But usually the emotional sign is you're feeling drained. You're feeling a loss of life. And so listen, you're going to be fine. It's not an attack on your life, nothing like that. But it's a sign that there's some mental health things you need to pay attention to. That's crucially important.
Number 11, bee stings.
Ooh, I didn't know we were going to go to bee stings. Okay, nice.
If you dream of bees chasing you or attacking you, this speaks of highly
Oh my God, who is being stressed out by this image right here? This is ooh, it's like the bees going up the pants leg. Oh God, I can't take it.
strategic spiritual attacks launched against you. These types of attacks are much different from usual attacks as they are strategic.
Strategic.
Strategic attacks also call for strategic prayers. Dream 12.
All right, that was a quick one. All right, listen, bees are actually a great thing. Bees lead to honey and they create honey, and honey is seen as a symbol for the sun. It's symbol of sweet. It's symbol of like the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. It's like the ultimate treasure. Honey is really, really good. And so to see bees can be a good thing. Follow it to the honey. Stay busy, stay active, stay productive, work as a team, and get towards your goal. That's good. Now, if you're being stung by a bee, it may mean that you're too busy. It may mean that you are overly stressed, overly worked, and busy bee. See the play on words there? You may not be taking time for yourself, and you may be so overworked that your mind is trying to tell you, hey, we need to slow it down a little bit. We cannot sustain this level of frantic activity. Because you've seen bees buzz around. They're frantic. You can't live like that. And so if you're being stung, warning. If you see bees and they're leading towards something, good sign. You're headed towards the ultimate goal. That's great. Very great.
Being chased.
I talk about this one all the time. You all know what this one means.
Have you ever had a dream where you were being chased by a scary person?
Sure did.
Or a fierce wild animal?
Yep.
It can be a really scary experience.
Yeah, actually.
But did you know that
one of the
this
few
type
times
of
that I ever got
dream
lucid
could also be a sign of witchcraft activities?
I did not, because it's not. Being chased is very simple. You're being chased in a dream. It means that you're avoiding some problem or some thought or some issue in your waking life. So that thing following after you is your mind saying, hey, you're ignoring this thing. You're avoiding it. You're trying to get away from it instead of turning and facing it and be like, okay, how do we solve this problem? Avoidance is not a great way to handle. It's not a long-term solution for problems in your life. And so your mind will warn you about this by giving you dreams of being chased.
Yes. You heard me right. Dreams where you are being chased are an indication of witchcraft against you. And it's not just about running away from something in your dream. It's also about how you feel when you wake up.
Oh.
Do you still feel like you're being chased in real life, even when there's no one around you?
Oh, man.
That's also a sign that witchcraft activities might be affecting you.
It's actually much more likely a sign. That there's some physical problems going on. If you've got like sleep apnea, if you like had a lot of sugar before bed and so your heart starts racing, if you haven't been getting good sleep, if you're very stressed, like a rapid heart rate while you are sleeping can start dreams about being chased or falling or different bad things kind of happening, like dreams about suffocating and drowning, and especially if you wake up still feeling it, it means that there's something physically going on. You should talk with your doctor, talk with your counselor, because dreams are supposed to be emotional, right? They usually don't cross over into the physical. So if you're feeling something with your dreams, like even when you wake up, there's a physical problem going on in your body. It could be a fever, right? Heightened blood pressure, heightened temperature, rapid heart rate, shallow breathing. Feels kind of like the same thing that happens when you're being chased. You get warm, your breathing rapidens, your breathing speeds up, and your heart rate speeds up. And so your mind is interpreting those body problems into your dreams. And so it's a huge sign. Pay attention to it. And that's why some of these things with the spiritual interpretations are like, oh my gosh, there's such great health advice that can come from these dreams. By just saying everything is spiritual or witchcraft attacks, you're missing some of these great insights. So listen, I hope that's been helpful to you. Thank you for spending some time watching this video. Tap the next one down below and see what else you have in store behind that beautiful, beautiful brain of yours. Remember, your mind's not against you. It's just misunderstood. See you in the next video. Bye.